It up. Pittsburgh wasted little time getting the upper hand on Thursday night. Crosby out to the point, shot by Schultz. He scores! Just a minute, 31 seconds in. A power play goal. Penguins lead 1-0. Pittsburgh never looked back in a 6-0 whitewash in Game 5, which has the Pens and captain Sidney Crosby one win away from back-to-back Stanley Cups.
It's not just another game. I think we understand that, but you have to approach it the same way and, use that as motivation. If anything, I think that should push you, to be at your best.
They'll need to be against the Nashville team playing in front of the rowdy fans at Bridgestone Arena, where the Predators boast a 9-1 record in the playoffs. That has Peter Laviolette and his team believing tonight will be another party in Smashville.
Our guys have confidence in the way that we play the game, and we have confidence in the fact that we're in our building. Our guys know what's at stake. They know where the series is at. They know what we have to do tonight, and I think our guys will be ready for that.
Will the Predators set up a winner-take-all finale on Wednesday? Or will the Penguins lift Lord Stanley's Cup for a second straight year? Game 6 is next.
This is KCAA.
So you missed the healthcare deadline and don't have any form of healthcare? Liberty HealthShare has the answer. Liberty HealthShare offers an affordable healthcare option that allows Americans to enroll any time of the year. Even if you've already enrolled but are not satisfied with your choice, you can switch to Liberty HealthShare today. Liberty HealthShare allows Americans to control, manage, and direct their healthcare by allowing them to choose any doctor or hospital across the country, yet still be in good standing with the Affordable Care Act. So members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on those without healthcare insurance, giving you freedom from insurance. Memberships are for individuals, couples, and families, offering a variety of options to best suit an individual's medical needs. If you're a freedom-loving American looking for contract-free health care, then this is for you. For more information on how to enroll any time of the year, call 855-585-4237, 855-585-4237, or visit libertyhealthshare.org to request a free estimate. Not available in Pennsylvania.
Call my mama, I need bail. Got me in a cell. Tell the homies I need some help. Nobody gotta stay in jail. They trying to hit me with the felony, but I got the remedy.
1-800 bail me out.
That's what they telling me. No collateral, just a few payments. Off the commissary, just call me my bail agent. 1-800 bail me out. That's right.
1-800 bail me out.
1-800 bail me out. 1-800 bail me out. 1-800 bail me out. 1-800 bail me out. Log on, remedybail.com. Post bail, get out of jail and go home. If you or your loved ones are arrested, call Remedy Bail Bonds at 1-800 bail me out. All collect calls will be accepted. Visit us online at remedybail.com.
Se habla español.
KCAA.
Welcome to Wyatt's Paint and Body in sunny San Bernardino, California. Hey, if we can't fix your car, nobody can. Wyatt's Paint and Body started in 1975. My father, Randy Wyatt, opened the business because he had a passion for cars and he developed a real strong love for San Bernardino. Our primary business is collision repair. We can negotiate with the insurance company how to repair your vehicle, but that doesn't mean that's where we stop. We also have done restoration work, we've done custom work. We will match the paint to where you wouldn't see the difference of what we repaired and what we painted versus what was already on the vehicle. We do a lot of repairs in-house as far as brakes to suspension parts that may be out of alignment or damaged, so they may need to be replaced. Frame repair, when a vehicle gets hit so hard that the frame's bent or shifted, we have to repair the frame back to its specifications. We can take care of all that, but it just doesn't stop at vehicles. We painted boats, we've repaired motorcycles, we've developed a great relationship with the city and the county of San Bernardino. Occasionally we'll have the city vehicles and also Caltrans. Taking care of a customer is number one. When a vehicle enters our shop, we will take it to the fullest to make sure that that customer is happy. When someone has their vehicle damaged and they don't know where else to turn and they come to you and you repair the vehicle and the person's crying, tears of joy, when you hand them the keys That's something you can't get anywhere else. It's a very good feeling, and I really enjoy that. This isn't just a job. This is a life. This is my life. If you ever need your car worked on, come to 350 North Rancho Avenue, San Bernardino, California, or you can call us at 909-885-5051. You're not just a job. You're not just a dent on the fender. You're a person. You're a Wyatt's Pain Body. No one will treat you like we do.
A word from our sponsors. We start off with R81 Wraps. Sergio and crew. Car wraps, vehicles, walls, trailers, and all your needs. 425 South G Street, San Bernardino, 909-384-7061. And more. The San Bernardino companies for your transportation needs. Hayes Towing, 5486 Industrial Parkway, San Bernardino, 909-887-4953. Wilson Towing, 2310 East 3rd Street, San Bernardino, 909-885-5455. Big Z, 274 North I Street, San Bernardino, 909-889-9655. Danny's Towing, 2305 West Highland Avenue, San Bernardino, 909-887-0651. We want to thank all our sponsors. And now, it's showtime.
And we're on Inside Politics with your host, Carla Quebec. I'm over here trying to fix the, what is it called? The Facebook Live thing, because then people are like, the camera is wrong, I can't see you, blah, 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 and I can't really click on it while I am live. So today we have a very special guest, but let me tell you a little bit about my Sunday. I was at the Kcaa Health Clinic at Indian Springs, and it was very wonderful. They probably serve over 150 people, so they come back every 3 months in the city of San Bernardino, and I was actually volunteering there, and I was helping to translate. So it was really good. I saw a lot of people that were happy with it. I talked to a couple of parents that were actually using the services. This is for people that don't have insurance, that don't have Medi-Cal. They can come out and they get some health checkup with the doctors. They also get prescriptions if they need anything, and they can also see the dentist, and they actually don't really do checkups. They actually work on your teeth if you have cavities and things like that that are small that they can actually do there on ground. So the event was from 9 to 2, but it was a really good event. I talked to some of the parents that were very happy. Some of them was their first time there, but they said it was quick. I'll be honest, the dentist takes a little bit longer because there's a lot more people looking at the dentist. But, you know, so if you do plan to come out in a couple of months, 3 months, and come out and share this health fair with all your friends. But if you want to come out and really use the services, if you do need a dentist, just be prepared to be there a few, because there's a lot of people that are using that service because they do your cavities, they do the cleaning, they do the checkup, and so on. So I had fun this morning. I had a lot of fun helping out. It was a very good experience, and I'm going to continue helping this organization. And also I would need my friends' help because I was talking to the CEO, and they actually want to have more people using this health fair. So when we have this great service, but we don't have the community getting involved, then we need the community to be involved. So I really need all my friends to kind of share that also on the next upcoming event, so that our community can actually use this. And I know that a lot of the community always thinks, well, they're going to ask us for this and finances and whatever. Actually, the process is really simple. They just ask your name, your address, a couple of health questions, and then you can go in and look at the doctor and the dentist. So it's really easy process. So you guys are safe to come out and use their services. So, but anyways, let's move forward with our show. And today we have a very special guest, a very, very, how would I say it? I've known Mr. Gallo, for a while back now, and we've had him on the show before. And I know he is our San Bernardino school board member, and Mr. Michael Gallo is here with us today. And I wanted him to come out. We had him last year, actually, and I wanted him to come out so we can kind of follow up on what's going on with the school district, right, and sharing all the positive stuff that's coming out, and the challenges that you guys have also had, and see what the goals are now, right? Because we're in a different year, so there should be some other goals we're working on.
Thank you for inviting me back.
And some things that we are probably proud that the school board has, accomplished.
Well, and it's our
as a
entire
whole,
district.
so
It's really
as
the
a whole,
entire district.
right.
And when I first got on the school board, Carla, back in December 8th, 2011, our focus became how do we strategically get a shared vision, and engage our community through an engagement strategy and reaching out to everyone, not just parents and not just students, but our entire community, and getting our community-based organizations, our businesses, and all who really had an interest in our school district to have a say in it. So we initiated a strategic plan, and I could see people's eyes when we first proposed this back in 2011. And oh boy, here comes the business guy. We're going to write a vision statement and a mission statement and just build this strategic plan and
the
put it
ABC,
on the shelf.
right?
Yeah, it's like, oh my word. But it was really as part of an entire community engagement strategy to get people to participate and define what we really do want to see in San Bernardino, what do we want to see at our school district, what do we want to see as a city, and how do we move to excellence? Not focused on fixing things. We all know that there's plenty of things to fix in government.
Right.
Plenty of things when you have systems as big as a school district. And by the way, we're the 8th largest school district in California.
Right.
We have over 8,000 employees, 55,000 students here
Wow.
in San Bernardino,
Right.
and many, many challenged families. We have 54.3% of our population on some sort of public assistance here
Right.
in San Bernardino. That is a challenge all by itself, let alone all of the other issues that come with a city that is lives in relative poverty, with a median income of anywhere from, say, $13,000 to $14,500. Think about that for a minute.
Right.
And that is one challenge. So
It is. And I was going to say that's one of the many challenges you guys have.
Exactly, exactly. But there are strategies that make a difference.
Right.
And, when people find their lives in trauma and crisis, it's really hard to think about the other things in life, about education, about workforce investment, about economic development, and those kinds of things. So we need to make sure that we invest in people. And first, to figure out how we can get people's lives out of that trauma and crisis and basically into a stabilized position, from stabilized housing to the wraparound supportive services that we see our counties providing and our city providing.
Right.
And predominantly need to think about how we actually engage our county and work together with a strategic focus on how we're going to move our families from, say, dependency or the difficulties that they find themselves to prosperity. And we can do this. We can do this. People can do this. And I'll tell you, the difference is really education, workforce development, and then linkage into our demand and growth industry sectors in our region. We do have jobs here in San Bernardino. We really do. But they're not being filled by the people who live here.
Right.
Because, quite frankly, they're not skilled. They don't possess the certifications and credentials necessary
And I
to
know that's
compete.
something that the schools have been working on getting that work development with the high school students so that they can develop some kind of skills so that they can go and apply for these
And
jobs,
that's
right?
the real key, is to figure out how we can give kids choices. Not only a choice to go to college, but a choice to go to work or a choice to earn and learn at the same time. Many of us, when we went to college and through our high school years, worked. You know, I had summer jobs. I worked throughout the year and things to pay for my college. Went to military academy. And then what brought me out here in 1980 was as a young second lieutenant at the former Norton Air Force Base. And I saw this city. It was a beautiful city. It had its challenges back then even. But we saw a thriving community and a thriving Air Force Base and a number of the economic indicators that we see. Well, you know, as life goes and as economic challenges go, you see these things come and go. But what the real important thing is having a shared vision as a leadership team and coalescing that leadership team around a community engagement strategy so that we can create that culture of investment, that culture of pride in your city and in your school districts and in your local organizations, in your neighborhoods and even in your families. This is critical. And that mindset, that focus on not deficits, but that focus on excellence. Where can we go? What can we achieve? What can we be? What do we want to be?
Right.
And that's the real, I think, motivation that we
and that it follows along, right? Because if you teach it now, then it goes to the other generation that's coming into the high schools.
Exactly. And if we're not reaching down into our young people, you know, when you start looking at the data and you start seeing this as we went through our strategic planning process, we find a lot of precursors towards either success or failure in, say, later years.
Right.
And those precursors are, if a kid isn't reading by third grade at proficient levels, third grade level, they never catch up because you learn to read to learn. And if you never learn to read, it's going to be difficult for you to learn subsequently. And the same thing is in math. It's fifth grade. If you're not performing math proficiently by fifth grade, you never catch up because the concepts get more difficult. It just gets it gets harder to do and everything. I remember
the kids probably think like, geez, I'm never going to catch up. I'm just behind.
Exactly. But what it showcases is that we need to be investing early on into our public education onset. And as students enter our public education system, we need to inspire and engage them and show them the relevance of their education from a perspective of something that's of interest to them and something that they might actually say get to practice one day. And hence we're incorporating career pathways and the mindset of not just talking at kids with visual and auditory learning, but actually engaging
the
kids,
hands-on.
Hands-on, applied learning, project-based learning, real-world examples, and things in areas that are exciting. We have instituted 46 different career pathways in the city of San Bernardino.
And I was going to ask you that,
since
actually.
2011. And over the last 6 years.
What is the growth? I was going to ask you.
Over the last 6 years, this has been the focus. And the real focus is not to add courses or electives that happen to deal with these specific subjects and topics, ranging from energy to advanced technology farming to geographic information systems to media arts and the whole spectrum. The goal is to get our kids to see their core subjects, English, math, social sciences, and history, and relate it to those topics so they can see the purpose of learning these various core subject matters. And so their interest level is peaked, and I'll tell you what we've seen. We've seen students actually challenging our teachers in our classrooms and coming up with ideas and innovations that are just amazing. And I'll tell you, by engaging our students actually in some of our issues that the district is faced with and the challenges that our youth are faced with. We typically huddle in a room, figure out what the problem is, and then try to implement solutions without really asking those that are affected by those solutions or those issues.
Right.
And so by engaging our students, engaging parents, and having an entire community engagement strategy, it gives you a unique perspective that is just tremendous. And I'll tell you, the insight we've gotten from some of our students, these kids are sharp. And I
They
mean,
are.
at every
They are
level,
very
they
sharp.
really
They
are.
just
I'm very
need,
proud of them.
something to do. They need that experience of like, there is more to it than just the books.
Exactly.
You can learn more and do more than
You
what,
can.
than just those subjects, right?
And
That
in
we're used to,
real-world
English, math,
issues,
and
in real life issues and things
Right.
that actually matter to them, not just
Right.
on things that we've decided as part of the curriculum they should know,
Right.
and the standardized testing and all of those kinds of things.
Right now, and I know that you guys have been working with the work development classes inside the schools, and I know you guys have been working with some high schools. I don't not know, or I'm not sure if you guys are doing it in the middle schools, but I know that you guys are working towards getting that implemented, even going so far back to elementaries, right?
And
So that
this
we
is-
can get our kids as young as elementary to get that work development, hands-on training,
I'll
right?
just take you on a little journey, maybe, and
Okay.
and tell you what we've done.
Let's go.
You mentioned Indian Springs High School, that you were there today.
Yes.
And going through a healthcare fair, and
Right.
that was great. I didn't know if you were suggesting I actually needed dental work.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I
If you
did-
need someone that needs it,
Yeah.
just share the flyer.
Well, I did get hit by an SUV on a bicycle about 9
You
months
did.
ago, and I
You did.
actually had my jaw wired shut and had to drink my food for about a month.
You
But,
did. And you survived.
I did. But I'll tell you what we've initiated at Indian Springs High School is an advanced technology, manufacturing, and precision machining career pathway with the latest, greatest state-of-the-art precision equipment and computer numerically controlled machines and lathes and mills, as well as 3D printing and all of these technologies that some of our students have never even seen, let alone learn about how they're doing it. So
Right.
we initiated that at Indian Springs just as a demonstration to see if kids would actually gravitate towards this and have an
Right.
interest in it. Well, they not only have an interest in it, they're actually gaining certifications, and we've actually placed people into gainful employment, and even subsequently at Valley College
Wow.
and four-year universities that are focused on engineering and other related curriculum.
So it's not even
and
just
designs.
a opportunity for them to have a hands-on, but also has given them an opportunity to open up something for the future.
Exactly. And now,
Right.
now that's not just at high school, because remember we just talked about if you're not engaging and inspiring kids early on, we're setting them up for failure,
Right.
basically.
Right.
So we've actually at Norton Elementary, right downtown here in San Bernardino, just next to our station here.
Right.
That is one of the more challenged neighborhoods.
Right.
These students really don't see much hope. And when we initiated multiple career pathways there, not only at advanced manufacturing, they have, for instance, working on computer-aided drafting and computer-aided drawing that are the same folks my rocket scientists are using at Kelly Space and Technology. As you know, I founded Kelly Space 25 years ago
Yes.
at the former Norton Air Force Base. And these same tools that my rocket scientists are using, we have third graders on using
it.
not a different software, the exact software.
Third graders.
It's unbelievable.
I heard
And
you
should
right,
see
right?
what they're doing. You heard me right. And they're taking parts and drawing up parts, and then they use words like extrusion, which is basically adding thickness to a part. I didn't learn the word extrusion until I was in college. I mean, honestly, I'm not
Right,
kidding.
right.
And these kids, the light bulb goes on, they're designing things, they're putting in their USB drive into their computer, taking it over to the 3D printer, and this is in third grade, mind you, and printing out their
Wow.
project and their design.
What was they
for the
doing in third grade?
Specific thing. Yeah, well, really, I guarantee you we weren't
Not
thinking
that.
about advanced manufacturing and precision
Not
machining.
that, most
yeah, I hate to
definitely.
think about what you were doing in third grade. But I'm just
Third
kidding.
grade, I don't remember much, but I know I was not doing that.
Well, and I got to tell you, when you see that light bulb go on, that inspiration, and you
Right.
see that look in their eyes and the inquisitiveness and the questioning, and then looking, they
Right.
actually take their computers, and by the way, we have Chromebooks, thanks to Danny Tillman and the rest of the school board, that
Right.
anyone that does not have computer technology at home can get it for free through
At
our
the school board.
district,
Right.
with Wi-Fi access built in, and it is provided free, because we know that when a student has access to this technology at home, they do significantly better. It's like 26%
Right.
better
Right.
when they have access to computer technology at home. And needless to say, with the poverty rates and levels that we have here in San Bernardino Unified, it's difficult for many of our families to afford that technology at home.
Right.
And
right.
yet we are providing that because we know how it affects student achievement. And so as we see it migrate at Norton, and I mean, they have built their own television studio and green screen. They have a class that runs from third grade to sixth grade. Each one has an individual job responsibility, all the way up to being the host of a show, just
I
as
did
you are
not know.
on sixth grade. You ought to
I
see the
need to
stuff they
go.
produce. It is unbelievable. Producing commercials
really
for
need
local
to go over
businesses.
there.
It is amazing.
Have one
and
of
you've
those
gotta
kids
see these
interview
kids.
me.
They're
That'll
amazing.
be so much fun.
I'm telling you, they're unbelievable. And then the advanced manufacturing things that I've just told you about, that then you can migrate to a different venue at Bing Wong Elementary, which is a career exposure in kind of an innovation lab. And you can get to experience a lot of different technologies and how they are applied in real life. And so students go through this iSTEAM lab, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math
Right,
lab,
right.
to experience these kinds of things, to see where they might find their interest in and see where they
Right.
might be inspired in. And then we take those aspirations and those desires, and we would mature them and morph them into, say, middle school environment at Curtis, which is right next door, basically right up the street, right up
Right.
the street from Indian Springs High School. And they have their own laboratory where students
Right.
actually manufacture things. They get their own student ID card with a certain amount of dollars on it. And so if they want to build a project, well, they need to figure out how much that project's going to cost, how many hours is it going to take on the machines, and then they scan their card into this iPad type user, and it debits their account for how much it's going to cost based
Wow.
on the project that they designed. So they're learning business skills, they're learning
Right.
internet and marketing and accounting
Investment.
and finance and all of those kinds of strategies to
Right.
actually develop their project.
So how about, before we go on a break, a couple of minutes, let's talk about some of, maybe you can give us, I don't know, maybe a couple of examples of some of the challenges we were facing last year with the school district of San Bernardino as a whole, and the challenges that you guys had, that you see that you guys have, overcome this year.
Well, and I want to tell you, maybe I'll take you back when we first came on the school board. We had a 67.5% graduation rate, which was not very good.
Right.
We finished last year with an 86.2% graduation rate. So think about that growth.
Right.
That is incredible.
Yes.
What it means to a city and what it means to our students and the income potential to our students, it's like turning on a light bulb.
Well, 86% is pretty good.
86% is great. It's
Out of the
better than the
67,
county average.
yes,
It's better than the
67%,
state
yeah.
average, and it's starting to rank nationally.
Right.
And this you would have never thought that this was occurring in San Bernardino.
Right.
And I'll tell you, this is deliberate. This is not by accident. This is deliberate, and it's a focus on community engagement strategies, and not only just the student achievement objectives, but also concurrently investing in developing an organization of excellence, a culture of excellence, a culture of high expectations within our district, and setting that course for excellence. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to achieve? And what do we want to see our students possess in the way of skills and abilities, certifications, and credentials? And then we had to concurrently invest in the professional development of our people as well. And that's really core because, quite frankly, a school district is made up of people. That's 86% of our cost is people. People are what really provides the services and is the real investment in my mind and the real value to our students. You know, some students, this might be the only positive impact they have in their entire life. And is through a teacher, through a classified employee, through a staff
the school
member,
district,
through anyone
through
at
while
a school.
they're in that those school years, where they can be presented into a different kind of view of just going to school, getting your book and opening it and then ending that period and going to another one and just that routine, of like...
And then creating an environment there where kids know that we care about them. You know, and in fact, instruction is one thing and student achievement objectives are another, but if you're not creating that culture of excellence and investing in the professional development of your people so that they are able to recognize the needs of our students, to recognize their learning challenges and develop intervention strategies on seeing how we can accelerate their student achievement growth, then we can implement innovative new instructional strategies like the ones I talked to you about, applied learning, these project-based activities and things, but it's kind of a 3 levels of investment that you have to do concurrently. You can't just focus on student achievement and test objectives and thinking you're actually going to make a difference if you're not focusing on the organizational issues as well as the professional development and encouraging and developing our staff to be able to provide those new strategies and tools for our
So it all comes
kids.
in a whole.
It does, and it's a strategic investment requirement, very similar to what we need to be doing in our city.
Yes,
it's
and with that, with what you're saying right now, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some things that are going on in San Bernardino, and when we come back, we'll talk about that. So stay tuned. Inside Politics with your host, Carla Quebec, and our guest, Mike Gallo, San Bernardino School Board member.
You know what? When I first saw you, I knew our love would be true. That chance and lasts forever.
As I walk behind that girl, she smiled and she turned around, talking with the sweet romantic sound. The rhythm of my heart is tumbling down. My thoughts maybe I was dreaming. She's standing right in front of me, the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I never knew her love could really be. Ooh, I dream of you. One thing, I dream of you. I love to tell you, my baby, my baby. That special girl of my dreams is you.
Come on, baby. Let's dream. Yeah, live our lives to the extreme.
I linger to see you every day. The hunger for your love to find its way, so our dreams of life can come true. Together, you and me in our world. You have taken my loving heart, believing no chance to grow apart.
that one chance. Our love grows stronger and stronger as time will pass.
All right, and we're back with Inside Politics and your host, Carla Quebec, and our very special guest, Michael Gallo, with the San Bernardino School Board. He's a San Bernardino School Board member, and I was trying to get your name right because I don't want to say Mike, right? Because people know you as
whatever.
Michael.
Both ways.
Or I don't know, so I'm just trying to, be straight. So I was trying to, you guys know that I do Facebook Live, so I'm trying to kind of do a little bit different this week and just go back and do a part 2. So this is going to be a part 2 live. But the only reason why I'm doing it that way is so that I can go back to your comments and kind of look at the stuff that you guys are commenting about, so we can kind of touch the point right now. I know we have Joy. Thank you for watching, everyone that's watching. We have Joy talking about, she wants to know a little bit about the special ed. So how can we help with that?
Wow, what a great question that is. And, our special education populations range from, the perspective of learning challenges all the way up to accelerated learning and things. What are we doing for our GATE kids and our kids who want to excel and perhaps even engage in community college type activities and things? And I'll tell you, one of the things that we've done with our career pathways is we've made a full inclusion model. And this full inclusion model means you integrate our special education populations, from our emotionally disturbed to our mild to moderate and moderate to severe students, right, into career pathway opportunities as well within their abilities and capabilities. And you don't really know what those are until you actually get them engaged. And I'll tell you, last summer, I spent some time with a special education teacher, right, at Anderson, and we took them through an exercise out in the field on using geographic information systems from ESRI, our local multi-billion-dollar world leader in geographic information systems in the world, literally. And had our students on iPads going out in the field and taking pictures and identifying the specific geolocations of elements, for instance, cracks in sidewalks, graffiti on walls, and other kinds of things that we would find in our community that might need to be addressed. Right. So we got a contract with the City of Highland to actually provide those data and that information through San Andreas High School. Mm-hmm. And we engaged a multiple number of our other local high schools and those students, our special education students, to see, were they capable of actually providing and utilizing that technology and utilizing the iPads, because it's not very easy to do. Right. I mean, our adults would need training on this. I need help.
I asked my son for help. How do you do this? How do you download music?
And I'll tell you what, these kids got so excited about it, and it was a class project during the summer, and they actually performed exceptionally. Right. And they noticed things that even the adults didn't notice. We took them, for instance, through a playground, and there was some areas of the rubber matting that was lifted and things. I didn't notice any of this stuff, and that there were cracks in it and stuff. Well, the kids are noticing it, taking pictures of it, identifying the geolocation of it, and writing it down and clicking on the various aspects of the iPad that said, here's what's wrong, and we need this fixed. I mean,
Wow.
it was absolutely fabulous. So it just showed you that anyone can be engaged in learning. Anyone can learn.
Right.
And we need to see our students excel to their highest level of potential.
Right.
That's the real point and purpose of it. And it's incumbent upon us as a school district to provide these opportunities for our students to see that they actually are given these experiential models rather
Right.
than just the instruction
opportunities,
in
yeah.
school. And our teachers are excited about this. And you know, some are more capable, some have prior experience in business and industry and things, and others, they don't really know how they could include some of these types of activities within their classroom settings. And that's why we've invested in the professional development of our team
Right.
and all of our team. You
So
know,
they
from,
can get that
from our
that
substitute
direct training.
teachers, et cetera. That's exactly right.
Right,
So that
right.
we can look. We're not just born with the capability of teaching, and I got to tell you, that's God's work. I don't know that I could do it. You know, I don't know that I could do it.
Well, you know, we have Scott Wyatt. So hi, Scott. I haven't seen you for a while either. He's another great San Bernardino school board member. So
bet.
thank you, all the team, the school board members, for all your amazing, exceptional work that you guys are doing throughout the school district. And I know he says what's the next for our next career pathway, so we can keep that short because I know we want to talk about other things too. So
Okay.
let's
Well,
let's address that
it's
really quick.
good to see
Or
you,
should you
Dr.
just have a
Wyatt.
conference meeting with Mr. Scott?
Well, and Scott knows. I think he's Scott's been part of this
Right.
this strategy, and as you know, he leads the county in a number of our challenged student
Yes, yes, he does.
populations there. And I know he just came from a graduation at county schools, and
Right.
I think they had their highest graduation level ever. And they're doing fabulous work with the county. I just recall 15 years ago, I was part of the foundation of what was called the Alliance for Education. Well, still is called the Alliance for
Right.
Education. And we focused back then on developing industry clusters and industry sectors and career pathway opportunities for those areas that are focused on our demand and growth industry sectors in our region. You asked about workforce and how it ties into this. Well, we know what our growth and demand industry sectors are. Healthcare, from construction to advanced manufacturing and precision
Right.
machining, office and clerical support, et cetera. There's about 7 different ones that can be found on the county's website, SB County, our Workforce Development Board. And we are looking at not only the industry sectors that are growing and that are in demand, where the jobs are, but you peel that back further, look at the demand occupations. What jobs do they have?
Right,
And
right.
then retool our education and training institutions to actually prepare students to effectively
get those
compete for
jobs,
those
right,
jobs
exactly.
within those. Now we've got an economic development strategy.
Right.
And that's the investment. Look, we're doing all kinds of investment throughout our county and our region with tens of thousands of organizations doing such great work. It's just fabulous. But it's not very aligned, and we don't really work together well. We do our own thing in our own programs,
Right.
bring students in and graduate them, pat them on the back, and then wish them well. But how do we actually figure out how we align and integrate through coaches, mentorship,
Right.
et cetera, and see families actually progress through these various supportive services and educational opportunities and
Right.
things to
And
that,
help
to
them
that
with that
point
next
of
step.
prosperity.
Right.
And actually see
Right.
them through the entire trajectory is the real key. That's the real key, and I think the missing link, because we see people randomly ricocheting in the social service environment forever. You know,
Right.
they can never seem to get a break to get out.
Right.
And that's where our people are sitting now, and we need to figure out how we actually do that.
And I think
So-
we can transition from that, right, to our kind of like, well, we want to kind of make this segment a little bit longer, but because we had questions, we, went a little farther, right? But let's transition with what you said right now, with a little bit of the things that are happening here in our city of San Bernardino. What are the challenges that we are seeing right now that we're not transitioning, even though we're out of bankruptcy, even though our city hall has been moved, even though the different type of things that we're seeing right now, that we're saying, where is the change? How can we progress from one point to the other in the city of San Bernardino? What are the challenges that you are seeing right now?
Well, and I don't complain much. I mean,
You don't.
I'm really focused.
Not at all.
Look, identification of problems ought to be about 10% of where our effort and time is spent.
Right.
And we got plenty of lists of the opportunities and problems and focuses and all of these kinds of things in the city of San Bernardino. And I'll just list and spend a minute or two on that. And then what I'd like to do is spend the bulk of our time talking about solutions and how I think we can effectively move from specifically staying in a problem identification and a complaining mode and a mindset of deficit and problem solving and more,
which is the key, right?
That's the real key, is problem solving, not spending time complaining about what the problems are, because they very rarely yield any outcomes.
Right.
And so, yes, you've got to spend time characterizing these issues and problems. And look, this is why we initiated with the city of San Bernardino a few years ago, actually about 2.5 years ago now, a strategic planning process that the district actually provided some investment and led on behalf and in conjunction with our city of San Bernardino.
Right.
And we identified, and this is not magic, okay? This is not the rocket science part of what we do for a living. This is what I do all day long.
Right.
Well, this isn't rocket science, okay?
Right.
And when you identify the issue, like I said, we seem to spend time perpetually in the problem identification and never really get out of that mindset, and getting our heads away from, gee, we don't trust, we think you're hiding something, we think something's wrong here, and instead, where do we want to go, and how do we move our leadership and have our leadership aligned on a shared vision to get us actually where we want to go. And that's the transition in mindset that I think we need to move from, is our leadership teams, we need to develop a unity, a shared vision, an identification of where are we going as a city in each one of these areas of challenges that we have, and is blight and crime and housing and all job base and economic certainties, economic investments, et cetera, and we all can list them on a list here, and let alone the provision of basic services and things. And again, I think our mindset can go from, and it seems to be perpetual in our city, is that we've confused activity with accomplishment, because we've really not defined what accomplishment is. And so we get busy doing stuff, and we do things, and we focus on emergencies, and you end up in that perpetual environment of simply being reactive to all of the many issues and problems that we all get to deal with every single day. Now, that doesn't mean we don't deal with those emergencies and those crises. And God knows we've had to do that over the past several years with our bankruptcy and focus and everything. But that is not the only thing we need to focus on. You'll never get out of bankruptcy, and I mean from a mindset of bankruptcy to a leadership mindset of bankruptcy, until you move towards where we can go and the economic development strategies and investments we need to make, especially in light of our bankrupt city and economic challenges. All the more so we need to focus on what specific investments we're going to make in this city, what targets of opportunities, how do we align our assets and look at our assets to accumulate them into an investment strategy and structure, so that we can bring in that outside investment from, say, developers or other kinds of entities that want to come here and invest, but don't, because they don't see an aligned leadership and a direction and a focus to where we're going to go to actually address some prioritized areas of interest and strategic investment requirements to pull an investment strategy together and be a 7-0 council behind these objectives, not a 3-4 council. Because what does a 3-4 vote mean? We have 7 council people and 3 or 4 goes one way or another. All it symbolizes is risk. to an investor. And they're not going to come here with that environment. They're
Right.
not going to. If we can't figure out how to develop a shared leadership and get our leadership team aligned on a single purpose strategy of investment. And look, we say at the school district, we've had these challenges and all of these same considerations ourselves. We can do anything you want, we just can't do everything. You know,
Right.
which means you have to prioritize your investments towards
Right.
the ones who are going to yield the biggest return on your assets over some projected timeline, and then develop an implementation schedule and an implementation plan on how you're going to get there stepwise. This is really critical, is that we've got to move from strategy and ideas and concepts to actually implementation. And that's what we've done with our school district. That's what we need to be doing with our city, is to move some very specific strategic objectives and areas by a holistic approach of developing the strategy first. What are the specific outcomes we're going to do? And then aligning our resources, budgets, and community engagement strategy. We can't forget that. You don't want to do this just independently and come and edict, as we typically do in strategic planning. You'll take a little core team, go sequester yourself up to the mountaintop, come down, bestow upon the people that this is what we're going to go do, and then you expect everybody to jump in line behind it. Well, that's not the way things work. You know, you've got to involve the people in
Right.
the decisions that affect their lives.
Right.
You involve the people in the decisions that affect their lives, right?
Right.
This is what you have to do. If you don't, the likelihood of you getting an endorsement and getting people on the same page, let alone just understanding what you're trying to achieve and the objectives, you're just not going to get there. And then you need to overlay a continuous communication strategy. And I say strategy, not just tactics of throwing out a few press releases every once in a while and saying, here's what's going on. But to figure out how you can truly communicate progress, communicate issues and problems, and then engage our people, our community, in these problem-solving activities. And so, you know, I would propose getting community teams engaged through advisory boards
Getting the
in each
community
one
more
of these
involved.
strategic
Right.
areas, but do it strategically and deliberately.
Right.
And not just shine them on, and not just soliciting input and then synthesizing that input and putting it on a page, oh, well, you meant to say this. You know, we need to honor people when we do this and capture their thoughts and capture their ideas. And then, look, we can pool them together, put them on a board, and vote on it. You can vote on priorities. And I'm not saying a citywide vote is part of an election process. I'm just saying those that wish to participate, come down. We hold these
Meetings,
public
right.
meetings and hearings, and then we just run through each strategic area of interest and do it very deliberately. Look, it's program management, system engineering 101. And I know that everything can't have a business analogy and things. And look, this is a very difficult topic, is
Right.
community health building. And that's what we're doing. But we need to create that culture of pride again in our community, and the confidence in leadership, and that the awareness that leadership is actually listening to the people and
Right.
coming up with new ideas and being willing to entertain other ideas and things. And that's, I think, the mindset that we need to do. Look, we had to do this with the school district, and it took an immense investment to do this.
Right.
It is not easy to do. It
and
is
in-
not
and
easy
also
to
an
be in
immense
leadership.
amount of teamwork.
Well,
And-
that's the key.
Exactly,
That's really the key.
right?
And the
Yeah.
mindset of, look, it's not just my aspirations and your particular agenda that's the issue. And we really need to identify a shared vision. And this is all part of a collective impact strategy, which was identified by Innovation Review at Stanford University. And it's a new way of building communities and building healthy communities and showing that, look, you need to focus on first developing a shared vision, building an organization of excellence and a backbone organization, they called them, that is focused strictly on achieving these kinds of objectives, soliciting from people and then focused on implementation. Right. And if it's just added within an organization's area of responsibility, it never occurs, and you never see it happening. And that's why, you know, you hear about projects being started, and then a year later you're wondering, well, whatever happened with that and everything? Well,
right,
because it
right.
typically gets embedded into an organization. It's their area and just added to their number of daily responsibilities. And if it's not targeted, funded, and actually appropriately resourced, all of the studies showcase, and Stanford substantiates this, it never occurs and just dies and goes away.
There.
Right.
Right.
It just stays in a state of wishful thinking.
Now
and
we're
we
running
need
out
to
of
move
time.
Beyond that.
We're running out of time, and I know I've been like, okay, so this is like the question of the show, right? So
Wow.
I'm going to ask because I've been thinking about it the whole time. And so I'm just going to ask because we're running out of time. So I have heard from a little bird, if you're running for mayor for San Bernardino.
Wow.
I know. I asked. Dun dun.
Well, you know, I've had a lot of people talk to me about this. And, you know, quite frankly, I don't like politics. I don't want to be mayor. I don't want to run for mayor. I really don't. But I
But a
almost
lot of
feel
people
like
have asked,
I
right?
almost feel like I have to. You know, look, I know how to move agendas. I know how to develop teams and coalesce a vision. And I didn't want to run for school board when I did 6 years ago.
Right.
I really didn't. But I just couldn't take it anymore. I know what we needed to do, and
Right.
And I had my own ideas. And it's not like this business guy coming in saying I got all the answers and knowing what to do here and everything. That's
Right.
not the point. I've learned over my many years of community service, and I've been in this city for 37 years.
Right.
Founded a business. Been part of the United States military. I was part of TRW Ballistic Missiles Division and NASA headquarters and a number of other things. I've chaired many organizations in this city, from community partnerships to our food banks to community-based organizations, both technical and not, and educational-centric and all of these things.
Right.
And my focus has been on education, workforce development, and economic development. That's where I'm spending my life.
Right.
And I've recognized that, look, at some point in time, you've got to lead this. And everything that I've done, I've always been either chairman of or just gone into the leadership role
The
because
leadership,
my passion
yes.
is there. And I just can't sit back and not do something about it.
Right.
And again, we can all talk about it. We've all been participating in boards before, and you can talk and talk and talk forever. But until it moves to implementation, it's all just talk.
Right.
And so I got tired of it. I had to participate in it. And then the first thing we did was called for a strategic plan, call for a community engagement strategy, release 1,200 pages of a budget online publicly the day after I got elected, or I started my first school board meeting. And I chaired the budget advisory committee that we formed that night. And it was to get our people together to recognize nobody's hiding money. Nobody's just squandering budgets, et cetera. So we went through and spent time through the budget, went through so everybody understood every element of the budget and where it was. And I was learning at the same time, going through this, and we were doing it together. And that's the real key, doing it together, not sequestering ourselves in a boardroom someplace and then coming out and saying this is the way it's going to be. You know,
So
nobody respects that.
So when will we know?
Look, I'm gonna figure this out by the end of the month. And,
Okay, great.
And I've got specific objectives that I want to achieve. I'm an implementer. That's what I do. And we need to move to implementation. We got to start working on the revenue side of the equation in our city.
Right.
And look, we've done great efforts in allocating the precious little dollars that we have for areas of priority. Those dollars are not enough to even provide basic city services. As you know, all you got to do is go out and drive the roads, and you know, if you can drive to the store without driving through a pothole, good luck to you. Just let me know what that route is. But look, it is what it is. So we've got to figure out a way to generate revenue and economic prosperity and development here, and spawn that development not only in workforce but also in building the economy and building and investing in specific project areas that we know are going to generate this economic prosperity for our region.
So first week of July, you will know if he's running. So stay tuned. Inside Politics, watch us every Sunday, 5 to 6. Thank you for watching. Carla Quebec, your host for Inside Politics.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.